Hi, and welcome to Anne's Family Recipe. Today I'm making Southwestern Skillet Pie. I have been making this casserole for years. It's inspired by a recipe from the Martha Stewart magazine, Everyday Food. You just throw all the ingredients into a large skillet, top it with a cheesy biscuit topping, and then bake it in the oven. Easy for a weeknight meal. My first two steps are to preheat my oven to 425 degrees and to chop up my veggies. So I have just one yellow bell pepper here. You can use any color you want, and 4 cloves of garlic, and I'm just gonna dice those all up. I have my skillet heating over about medium to medium-high heat, and I just threw just a teaspoon of olive oil in there. For this recipe, you can use ground beef, which probably wouldn't require any oil, but I'm using ground turkey, which is a little bit leaner, so obviously less fat, and it's just nice so that it doesn't stick to the pan and it starts browning evenly. So we're gonna brown this up with the yellow bell pepper, and then for like the last 30 seconds, I'll throw in the garlic too, just so that doesn't burn. As the meat browns, I'm just gonna season up the mixture with about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a little bit of cumin, which adds a nice smoky flavor, and a little bit of black pepper. And then we'll just cook the turkey. While my meat is browning and the bell peppers are softening up on the stove, I'm gonna quickly put together my biscuit mix. And this is very, very simple, but super tasty. So it starts with just a cup of all-purpose flour that I have in this mixing bowl here. And then to that, I'm adding 1½ teaspoons of baking soda and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So I'll just sprinkle that in. And I'm just gonna use a little fork, or you could use a whisk to incorporate those 3 ingredients to start. Break up any lumps that might be in the flour. Okay, so next I have 3 tablespoons of cold unsalted butter that I just cut up into little cubes. I'm gonna dump those into the flour and then incorporate it all with my fingers, just so that everything kind of comes together. It's gonna be like little pea-sized crumbles. And then we're gonna drizzle in a little bit of milk and add some pepper jack cheese. Next, while I mix this together with a fork, I'm gonna drizzle in 3/4 cup of whole milk. And you can also use buttermilk too, if you have that. You can even add a little splash of vinegar to your whole milk to kind of make your own homemade buttermilk. Now, of course, I've made this casserole 100 times, and today's the day that the consistency of the biscuits wasn't what I wanted. I think you may have seen earlier it was a little bit soupy. So I just threw in a couple extra tablespoons of flour just to kind of pull it together, tighten it up a little bit. It's not gonna be really, really thick, but it was a little too wet before. That looks really good to me now. We're just gonna dollop this all over the top of our casserole. Now, before we do that though, I have 1 cup of shredded pepper jack cheese here, and I'm gonna add half of this into the biscuit dough and then the other half into our ground turkey mixture. So we'll just sprinkle a little bit of this in. You could use any kind of cheese you want, like a mild or a sharp cheddar, regular Monterey Jack. And I'll just incorporate that into my biscuit dough. Make them a little bit cheesy and a little bit spicy too. My meat's nicely browned, so I'm gonna add in those 4 cloves of garlic that I chopped up earlier and stir those in. And next, I'm going to add in 1 15-ounce can of sweet corn, a 15-ounce can of red kidney beans, light red. Ooh, what's that? We'll take that out. It's just a mashed kidney bean. We'll take that out. And then 1 15-ounce can of black beans. And I rinsed and drained all of these. And we'll mix that in. So the original recipe actually doesn't call for the corn or the kidney beans, but I really like to kind of bulk up the protein and just add to my 1 pound of beef with the beans and the corn. It's good for my big family, and it just adds some extra flavors and textures to the mix too. Now, to pull this all together, we have to create a sauce, and it couldn't be easier. I'm just gonna use about 2/3 of this jar of mild salsa. You could choose any heat level that you want that works for your whole family. I think mild's the best bet with my kids. This is 24 ounces, and I'm looking for 16 ounces, so I think I did that math right this time. 2/3 of the jar? Okay, I'm looking at my husband for confirmation. Mental math is not my forte. Okay, so here goes the salsa. And then to thin that out, I have about a 1/2 cup of water back here. I think it's nice to have that extra liquid because the biscuits on top really soak some of that up as they bake. Now I'm just gonna stir this all together and let it simmer just for a couple minutes till it kind of incorporates. Oh, and before I forget, we're also gonna add in the remainder of the shredded pepper jack cheese. That kind of binds it together a little bit and gives it this sort of gooey texture on the inside underneath those biscuits. Okay, so now we'll stir it all together and let it simmer for a couple minutes. I turned the heat off underneath my skillet and now I'm just gonna dollop my delicious biscuit mixture over top. So you can just take little, like, I don't know, tablespoons, 1 to 2 tablespoons full. And I like to sort of evenly distribute it over the top first, and then you can add wherever there's space for more biscuits. My oven is all heated up at 425 degrees. So this casserole is gonna bake for about 20 to 25 minutes so that the biscuits are nice and golden brown on top and baked through. Can't wait. And the great thing about this is that the skillet goes, ooh, it's heavy. The skillet goes from the stove top right into the oven. Super easy and easy cleanup too. My casserole baked only for about 20 minutes, and as you can see, the tops of the biscuits got pretty golden brown, which is totally fine. They're not burnt by any means or overbaked, but it's funny because I've actually never made this Southwestern Skillet Pie in my new stove since getting it. So sometimes you have to kind of relearn how long it takes to cook or bake certain dishes that are staples in your repertoire. Anyway, I'm gonna give this a taste because it smells and looks absolutely incredible. And you can see too, I put a little bit of sour cream on top, and my husband suggested putting some hot sauce on top too, and that's another way that you can kind of amp up the spiciness if you don't want to put like a hot salsa throughout the entire casserole. So here we go. Some veggies and some meat. It's perfect. So delicious. I love all those textures going on in there. Kind of that pop of the juicy corn and the creaminess from the beans, and then the heartiness from the ground turkey. It is such a great weeknight casserole. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram at Ann's Family Recipe. Thank you so much for joining me today in my kitchen, and I'll see you again soon with another family recipe. For the full recipe, check the description box below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for joining me in my kitchen.